There we go. And we are live. So, hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 140 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada, recorded Monday, June 25th, 2018. As you may have noticed, I am not Andrew Vincent. I am Gavin, a business owner, gun enthusiast, hunter, atheist, and CCFR field officer for the GTA.
I'm Andrew. I'm a recovering libertarian and a competitive. No, Andrew, we're here. Andrew's not here, but he is a recovering libertarian, a competitive shooter, and a firearms instructor at Ragnarok Tactical. It's quite good. I'm Tim. I'm a sweat shooter and the owner and operator of Tim's Good T-shirts. They're quite good, and I'm also the proud descendant of immigrants.
Hi, I'm Benny, small business owner at BennyLewis.ca and not so token Jew.
And I'm Marty, hunter and sports shooter in rural southern Ontario.
Chirp, chirp. Chirp, chirp.
We back to Gavin now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Did we lose
Oh,
Gavin?
sorry. No, we're here. Sorry, I guess your audio compression kicked in and it lagged. But we'd love to hear your feedback about the show. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Feel free to tell us whether you enjoy having Andrew as the host or others as the host, especially when he's not around. So a version of the show is available on Stitcher and iTunes.
Check the podcast out on Facebook.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast and Instagram at www.instagram.com/Canadian Patriot Podcast.
We need your help. To support the show, visit www.patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. And the more you pledge, the better the rewards are. Show you're not a communist. You buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com, go to the homepage and follow the link on the right.
So the better quality version of the show, does it have better hosts?
Yeah. It's they actually hire voice actors to re-record everything that we say.
Yeah, we had Alan Thicke for the first 20 episodes.
Yeah, great Canadian actor.
That's definitely worth $1.
Yeah.
Probably going to get sued now.
All right.
We need your help.
Yeah. Support the lawsuit.
Yeah. Shit.
Don't sue us, Alan Thicke t-shirts made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sue us not.
All right, and for everybody's favorite portion of the show, What Are We Drinking?, which is brought to us by Arrowhead Coffee. Arrowhead Coffee is owned and operated by Canadian Armed Forces veterans. They love our country, the true north strong and free, their family and friends. Join Arrowhead Coffee on their hunt for the perfect brew to raise morale and bring that feeling of home to you, no matter where you are. A portion of all profits helps Canadian Armed Forces members, veterans, and their families. So, what are we drinking? Marty?
Coors Banquet tonight.
Excellent. Tim?
I'm drinking Rickard's Red.
Another fine choice. Benny?
Ice River Water.
Very nice. I, too, am also drinking a Coors Banquet left over from this weekend's after-course shenanigans.
Always
Quite
a fine
delicious.
choice.
Yeah. Right. I guess we should jump all into the non-fake news. So
Great.
let's start off with the first one here on the list. Jordan Peterson launches a $1.5 million defamation lawsuit against Wilfrid Laurier University.
At first, when this first broke, I thought he was just helping her out, helping Lindsay Shepherd. But no, during that video, they did defame him. They called him a Nazi and a bunch of other things that are listed in the article, but that don't need repeating. Things that are definitely not true.
So they didn't make those statements publicly though.
That's what I was thinking.
So
Like,
So it's not slander?
it's
Was it slander or was it libel?
defamation.
Defamation.
Character.
But there's one. There's a difference between slander and libel, that kind of thing. And one is like if you make it publicly, like if you put it on Facebook.
Yeah, isn't one like a written thing and the other one is like a verbal thing?
Say it in a bar or say it in a meeting, and there's no record of it.
Bringing forward the complaint to Lindsay, I assume there's paperwork involved. Whether that paperwork is public or not, their actions caused their words to become public knowledge. I would argue, and because of their actions towards Miss Shepherd, and then Miss Shepherd being a party in the conversation and allowed to record it, publishing those findings to fight back against these false accusations, I think that's within his right to say, you guys basically, they painted him in a negative light publicly because of the charge, because of the complaints that they themselves lodged against Lindsay. They made it public. So yeah, I would say it's their public word, because that was the whole complaint, was because they claimed he was a person of ill repute. But simply.
Well, yeah, and also like they're literally going around and punishing and haranguing their grad students, like just for showing one of his videos. So
yeah. So I mean, it seems like it's the same lawyer that's suing on behalf of Miss Shepherd as well.
And I think that's a clever thing to do, because that's probably going to double his chances at doing that. Like, because then if the one becomes successful, he can use that to kind of help the other one.
Yeah.
But it also doubles the pressure against Laurier. But it's just nice to finally see the right standing up to this Marxist, like, leftist march that's going on.
Yeah, like how dare they present both sides of an argument and ask someone to pick one and explain why, Like, how dare they?
So, yeah, I think that's kind of what both these lawsuits, they're more, like, I don't really see either, and I think the Jordan Peterson one is definitely a little bit weaker of the two. I don't see either of them as being, trying to recover or recoup losses or anything like that. It seems like it's more of a punitive thing to try and give some accountability, where they've clearly gone above and beyond, and there's been no accountability for their actions. And so this is sort of the one way that they can actually go after them and try to hold them to account for the wrongdoings that they've done.
And just a quick one, Benny, but just to Peterson's credit, I think the amount he's going for is pretty reasonable. Like, I'm so sick of hearing these frivolous lawsuits and stuff like that, but I think this is pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Like, I know last week when you guys discussed the Shepherd lawsuit, I think, like, somebody made the comment of, like, I don't think that, she deserves this money, but they deserve to be sued.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was Gavin.
No, I think that was Tim that said that one.
I don't know what I say.
I know it wasn't me.
Yeah, that sounds like a Tim.
Said, though, she probably is entitled to some money because, like, I think somebody made the comment, that she's not entitled to a position in her chosen field. She is entitled to pursue a career in her field, and they have made that impossible.
Yeah, without undue hardships that brought on for no reason. Yeah, that.
And the thing is, like, with this whole, the way the people at Laurier went after her, it's just like, there's been a complete removal of common sense and decency in the political spectrum in North America. That's been, like, growing in, like, the past, like, I don't even know, but at least 5 years. But, like, the fact that, like, most people go, oh, this person's a liberal, therefore they think, they have a different opinion on everything than I do, kind of thing. But the fact that, like, these people, just as soon as you have a different opinion, they will go out of the way. They would to damage your career and get you fired and bring you to light as a criminal.
It's not even having a different opinion. It's presenting both sides of a debate. Like it's
Yeah.
you know,
Well, that was I remember the one quote. Like, she said something about like I didn't. I didn't even like when I played the thing. I didn't even give like I didn't even tell them which side Jordan Peterson like which of the argument they should fall on. And then the guy said, "Well, it's kind of the problem."
Yeah.
So he was saying, you should have said Jordan Peterson is like Hitler and he is like a Nazi, and this is the wrong way to go. Like, don't not here are the facts and here are things that are going on, and you can make up your own mind because you're an adult. They were basically saying that she should have said, "This is Jordan Peterson's slant on this, and it's wrong."
Yeah.
And he's a terrible person.
Like, first off, he's like, these kids are too young to make that decision for themselves. They don't they don't have the ability to listen to both sides of an argument and choose for themselves. But this type of thing should only be shown to upper year, and only after you've like hedged it by saying this is the wrong opinion, and then you can show it.
But these kids are old enough to vote and drive, and
My God, though, like I have a friend who, when he was 17, got his mother to go help him enlist, and he went to Afghanistan like when he was 18, but he joined the army when he's 17. So he made that decision at 17. These people can't decide on this kind of topic just by watching a video. Like they're not creating formed individuals who are capable of free thought. That is no longer the purpose, in my opinion, of the majority of academia.
But
I mean, this whole thing came down to they attacked her for wrongthink.
Yeah. What I was going to say, the theme we're going to probably see a lot tonight is, or some of the news stories is, the system not dealing with infractions appropriately, and so people have to, or should be finding other forms of punishing people, I guess, or getting what's due to them.
So you mean social justice warriors are getting social justice?
Well, no, I would no, that's not what I'm saying. They're using existing systems such as the law and taking these people to court and saying, "Excuse me, you're defaming me. You're damaging my reputation. I won't be able to get a job because of this." And they're going to court and they're taking people to court because if they don't, what's the worst that's going to happen to these professors? They're going to get a slap on the wrist, or they're going to a note in their file. Like what's that going to do?
They all have tenure. They all have tenure. I bet. Like they could just. Well, they have tenure and staff.
Yeah, and the university is behind their nonsense.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is from the top down.
Yeah,
the fish rots from the head.
Well.
So yeah, that's that.
All right. Shall we move on to the next one?
Going on to the shades.
Yeah. The headline on this one is brilliant. Throwing shade. Trudeau fined $100 over gift of sunglasses.
Ooh, that's CBC said that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you should. I'll try and find the quote. You guys discuss this, and I'll find the quote for you. It's ridiculous.
So first off, the fine for declaring a gift worth more than $200 is $100.
Yep.
That's
when you look at it, it's only $200 for a breach of ethics.
Like, why does the ethics commissioner have no power whatsoever?
It's ridiculous.
It's such a joke about such a joke of a position. Like, why have it at all?
Well, I mean, because that way then they can say that there's somebody keeping an eye on them and giving them a slap on the wrist.
But keeping them accountable.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, like you get a larger fine for singing loudly in a car in Montreal.
Yeah. Or taking a stroller down the road. Or not locking your doors to your car in Montreal, or pretty much doing anything in Montreal, really, let's be honest.
Just don't visit Quebec. Just stay away from that province.
Or bring your wallet, because you'll need it.
It's always great fishing in Quebec.
Yeah. I love Quebec.
So here it is. As a result of an administrative error, the proper forms were not completed and the gift was not declared within 30 days, said Trudeau's press secretary, Eleanor Cantinoro, in an email on Friday. That, like, on first reading, implies that, we were just a little bit late in filing the paperwork. So, whatever. It was an, administrative error. It's fine. But he wore the sunglasses in 2017. So how long has he had to file the paperwork? And why is this only coming up now?
Why can't he buy his own sunglasses?
Yeah. Well, because he couldn't directly chalk it off to the taxpayer. They're like between $300 and $500, these sunglasses.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy those sunglasses. You can save up for a swing set for your kids.
Well, to be fair, he has a really expensive car. It wouldn't make sense for him to have a $10 pair of sunglasses. It's like guys that go and buy like a $5,000 rifle and then put like a shitty, $50 piece of glass on top. Your car is, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You got to have some sweet shades for when you're driving around with the top down.
So do they come with a matching
free sunglasses? I have no issue with that. This is a Canadian company. He was visiting out there. They gave him the sample of the sunglasses. It's a marketing thing for them. It makes perfect sense that he would be given these sunglasses. I don't have any issue with that. But the fact that this is just another example of him not giving a shit, complete disdain to the rules. We weren't seeing these type of issues with previous prime ministers. They were given shit all the time too. They just they just did their diligence. This is the job. You report it, you move on. No one's saying he can't have these sunglasses. Obviously, it made sense why he has them. Yeah, it's just a complete, I guess just disdain for the rules.
Yeah, he's above them, right? He didn't get in trouble for smoking pot when he was younger. He didn't get in trouble for this and that and everything else.
Yeah, basically, he got these sunglasses for 33%, a percent, or to 20% of the price. So
unless
worst case scenario, if it had never been caught, he wouldn't even know.
Yeah, but it's
of the pre-tax price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little ridiculous. It's sunglasses. So unless tomorrow or whatever he gets up and starts imposing sunglass tariffs or something like that. I really don't think it was a bribe or anything, but no. Yeah, if you have 30 days to declare sunglasses, you declare the sunglasses and be done with it. Right?
I bet you Andrew Horwath has more expensive glasses.
I wonder who paid the fine.
Patrick Duffy.
I think that would be really funny. I think that'd be hysterical if someone else, it came out that someone else paid the fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody did, the taxpayer. But
that goes without saying. In order for them to get the money from him, I can totally see them just saying, we'll just hold back the $100 from your next check.
Oh, for anyone who I made the crack about saving up for a swing set, there was for anyone just wanted to do some research, they can Google Trudeau $7,500 swing set. And the taxpayers paid $7,500 for this swing set to be installed, I think, at the cottage that he's staying at because he refuses to stay at 24 Sussex.
Well, yeah,
I've not seen a picture of the swing set. Has anybody seen it yet?
Probably security risk.
A good chunk of that money is a privacy hedge or something to surround the swing set so that nobody can get a photo of it.
Because it could be a sex swing.
You know what? That could be.
Rumpus.
Or maybe there is no swing set and he just needed the cash for something else.
What does a $7,500 swing set look like?
Probably the 6 union guys it took to put it up.
Ooh, yeah. That is definitely true.
Coffee break, and then you got to spend time, design, reading the blueprints, making sure it's all right.
Coffee break. Gotta get an engineer stamp on this thing.
For sure. The prime minister's kids are going to be playing on this thing. We got to make sure it's safe.
Well, they got to find the optimal shade in the yard so that they're not getting sunburnt.
And then
It's
you
a
got
huge process. It probably some sort of environmental survey to make sure that it's not like impacting ants or something.
Well,
Yeah, and
speaking of sunburn, he did get 3 $1,000 patio umbrellas through.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
So they gotta rent a machine, or they probably have to buy one of those thumpers to pat down the ground so it's flat, so it doesn't wobble.
Yeah. Where do you even find $1,000 patio umbrella?
I don't know.
I feel like you walk in a store, say I'm buying for the government, they'd be like, hold on a second, run around the store,
Yeah.
adding 75% to
Cover
everything.
on this podcast when like Toronto bought $20,000 umbrellas.
No, I wasn't here then.
That's not ringing a bell.
No, but I went from angry to absolutely furious, like instantly.
Don in the
Yeah,
YouTube chat says it's a multi-gender swing. It swings in all directions.
Oh, so it's like one of those tire swings where it's chains above and it spins.
Oh, you say tire swing, I remember Harambe. That's sad.
I was thinking more of like if Trudeau has his swing and there's like 100 or 120 people hanging out in his garden, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. I found the article. It's for they were $12,000 each for the.
Yeah.
I
What
was-
you said was absurd.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's reel it in a bit.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
outrageous.
Yeah. I mean, 12,000 for a patio umbrella made out of probably canvas, you know, totally worth it. Yeah. So glad that Ford won.
Yeah. Now they got to start this. They got to start making their own lunches. The MP.
That's
They-
awesome.
They spend it all on patio
Brown bag.
umbrellas.
Brown bagging it.
Like to
So we're going to jump ahead to that story, or you guys want to go on with the next one in the lineup?
the outrage over liberal riding chairs profane Facebook rant. That one?
That's the one
That one is pretty good.
with the gross goatee, which if you look closely, you realize is kind of sparse, which is probably why he hasn't kept it. He does not
Yeah.
have the lustrous facial hair of a man.
Pretty much
in,
the entire panel except for Marty.
That was that was back when he just tumbled himself down a staircase just for fun, kind of thing, on television.
he's so
Nice.
hairless. It's gross.
Back in
He's got
the
his shirt
zany
open
days.
and everything. Oh,
Oh yeah, he's like he's 2 buttons.
yeah, but they're really well spaced buttons.
Yeah.
So
Why would
basically, this.
So is
dude-
anyone going to talk about the story or?
yeah, I was gonna
No,
say.
no, he was also
No.
yeah.
We're just gonna
Yeah.
cut up Trudeau looking like a total Guido.
Like it looks drunk. Like it looks like that badge holder thing is like it's on the inside of his collar. I saw
Yeah.
William Shatner at a trade show once, and it looked like he was just like utterly full, and he looked about as presentable as Trudeau in this picture.
Oh yeah. But I guess we should probably fill everyone in for those that aren't in the know what the MP, what is it? Mark Elias, I believe is how you pronounce it, about his comments.
Not an MP.
Well,
He was a president of the Liberal,
yeah, somewhat.
a past president of some sort of liberal organization out in the West Coast there.
Fair. So a liberal,
Right,
yeah.
Has been.
So, anyways, he on his Facebook, he posted, "Here's a song we can all dance to," and it's I guess it's titled "Mr. President, Fuck You." So
Congressional intern remix
Yeah.
Uh,
by David's video, whatever.
yeah. So
then-
he doesn't like Trump.
Enter Tracy.
Yeah,
How-
and then Tracy Wilson from the CCFR, yeah, she said on Facebook, how very stately of you. Is this the typical language you can expect out of the Liberal Party when they are supposed to be representing Canadians? Disgusting.
Which Mark alias replies, "My personal page. Trump is a bigot, homophobe, racist, misogynist. He can go F himself. Why are you on on personal page. We aren't even friends. In fact, you can F yourself too, you racist Trump supporter.
And for everyone listening, it actually says fuck Ben. He's just being polite.
Yeah.
And not saying the cuss words because he's a good guy, unlike
He's a
the
good
rest
guy.
of us. Yeah, unlike the rest of us.
For $1 an episode, you can get the whole swear word.
Yeah.
And it just went on. There was literally like Tracy Wilson posted it on one of her pages, and then her fans and supporters like rallied against Mark, and this guy did not back down. He was just like,
Oh
and,
no, he doubled down. In
homophobe.
fact, yeah.
And he just went on and on. But
Yeah.
Yeah, continued to call Tracy Wilson the usual bullshit that every leftist spews.
Yeah, as soon as you disagree with something they say, it's every ist term they can think of.
It's funny because he's none of those things.
But the thing was, like, it says here in the
Trump or
article,
Tracy?
Neither
is Tracy. That is true.
but he said another commenter accused Elias of being a bigot. Elias replied in the affirmative. He said, "I am," he wrote, "going to describe Trump supporters as subhuman pieces of shit, and they'll be rounded up and placed in camps away from public view," he wrote. "Their kids should be taken away from them for child abuse," which by that I think he's referring to the
current border situation.
Current border law, where like if an illegal immigrant is stopped at the border
for more than 20 days.
Yeah, for more than 20 days, the kids are separated from them, which is a law I believe was enacted by Bill Clinton.
I don't think it was a law enacted by him, but it was. It definitely went to court. I think I think it's confusing whether it went before him during. Before the court during Bill's time or Obama's time, but the fact of the matter is there's a court order saying that they have to separate the parents from the children, but everyone's ignoring the fact that the parents are criminals because they've crossed the border illegally.
But that's what I said last time, so I'm not going to go on too long about it. But like, if you break the law in Canada, you get separated from your children and you get put in jail. Like,
I certainly don't hear the outrage for anyone, about a single mother who's a heroin dealer getting separated from their children.
Oh, they did. They just pardoned her. Didn't you hear what happened in?
So the thing is, this law was put in to protect the kids because they didn't want the kids going to the prison that had all of the criminals in it.
Right.
Well,
they're using it as an excuse to get the parents out of jail, though. That's their objective.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Either way,
this all sounds very American. So
yeah, this guy's a douchebag. Say whatever you want to say, but if you're, representative of anything, the words that you say can affect the things that you stand for. So be cognizant of that fact. Luckily, we don't belong to any party that cares what we say, so we're allowed to say whatever we want on the internet. Like, this guy's a dickhead, but.
Well, also,
I strongly disagree with his views.
Yeah, but also just everything's been going crazy on the left, and I think we're kind of more reactionary kind of thing. But it's not like but the left has just been going nuts over the last couple of years. And Elias on January 15th, 2017, when it tweeted to Trump, "You are incoherent and retarded. Putin is blackmailing you. You won't last a year. Mike Pence will be POTUS soon." Retarded.
That sounds like a threat to his life.
Yeah, well, I'm sure the Secret Service has looked into him, but I think we should move on to something we kind of alluded to in comments earlier about the province of Quebec and their ridiculous regulations. Because this one is just
always in there.
Point.
I think it's, I don't know, maybe the most absurd one that we've seen so far coming out of Quebec.
I don't know. This seemed pretty egregious, and I think they had it coming.
Yeah, kids water balloon fight lands Quebec mother with $102 fine from bylaw patrol.
Were they
This is why you separate kids and parents right here.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure.
Anything calls for it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is to take a quick page out of Michelle Rempel's attack book here, you could look at there's this bylaw that they hit these kids with because they were playing water balloons, and then they literally fine these people $102. So, like that law, like when they made it, have the liberal people have the liberals done a gender study on that law?
That's a good question.
Clearly, it's going to have a major impact
because it
she's
seems
a single mother.
Yeah, I think this is a single mother with her 2 daughters, and these people literally ripped like $102 out of their budget for the month.
It was withdrawn though. The ticket was
withdrawn due to public outrage. That's why we have to be outraged.
Well, they're probably going to maybe come back with a slightly lower fine because they realize that, Trudeau is getting away with taking sunglasses and only paying $100 when this lady's getting fined $102 for her kids playing with fucking water balloons.
Yeah.
How much water has
this single mother with 2 kids, not 2 nannies, 2 kids.
Yeah.
So that's like 4 nannies, right?
She got fined more than Trudeau did for taking a bribe, or what could be.
Yeah, but look at the hubris of these kids posing with more water balloons in the photo.
Yeah.
Well, the issue wasn't that they were.
Yeah, they're threatening in that photo right there. Like,
in fact, the one in the rear with the dark hair may be a member of MS-13.
Well, they're not animals, so it's okay.
Yeah, but like, and what is this? The town's green patrol.
That's scary as hell. Because Tyler alluded to that. He said, I said something about how are they going to impose these energy acts, and he said something about. He said they'll have green. He didn't use the exact term, but it was very similar. And he said, well, they'll have like environmental patrols or something like that,
yeah. So it says here that she was filling up water balloons, and then like for a moment the hose was aimed at the driveway or the road or whatever, and
luckily
that's when she got in trouble.
The green patrol saw them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If they'd been doing this on the grass, it would have been okay. Like seriously, these people give their heads a shake.
Yeah. Like what happens when you want to wash your car? Like if it splashes off the car onto the asphalt, is that also like
this is
do we have to reclaim that water?
Okay. So the article's in the National Post.
But wash your car on certain days of the week.
Yeah. I'm just going to read a little bit of it.
Can I collect rainwater to use that to wash my car?
Yeah.
Illegal, Gavin, illegal.
On Tuesday, a member of the town's green patrol happened upon Felicia Lammy, 13, with hose in hand, and she was in the midst of filling up a water balloon when, for only a moment, the hose was aimed at the asphalt. The officer in training passed by in that moment. Her 6-year-old sister was hiding behind a tree, and the green patrol member, part of a Granby program, which hires students to enforce municipal bylaws related to the government, called Felicia ma'am and demanded that she give him her identification. And she said, "I'm not a lady, but a child." He demanded her identification on her property for aiming a hose at her asphalt for God only knows how long.
At this, keep going. Well, you don't have to, but at the next point, when the mother comes out, the officer's like, "If you don't, pay the ticket, I'm gonna call the cops." At which point, I would have called the cops and said, "Excuse me, what are you doing on my property?" And then let the cops figure it out. Like, what's this guy? Who is this guy to tell a 13-year-old that where's your identification? What
I would have come out and said, "Why are you looking at my 13-year-old daughter?"
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me go get my phone. I'll be right back. And then you call the cops. Say, "There's some weirdo out here talking to my kid."
Yeah, someone's harassing my 13-year-old daughter, demanding things from her.
I think he has a gun.
Like, I mean, it'd be one thing, like, if they have 12 hoses going, and it's like they're recreating the gasoline fight from Zoolander, and it's like spraying water everywhere while in the middle of a drought. But short of that, mind your own fucking business.
But do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of 1984 when Winston's neighbor gets turned into the thought police by his own children. And as they're kind of like you know, I forget exactly how it is, but as he's talking to Winston, he's like, "Oh yeah, the clever little buggers. They knew that I was doing like thought crime or whatever, and they reported me right away." And he was actually proud of his kids for reporting him. And I'm sure someone's going to be proud of this little Green Patrol kid. It's just we now have hall monitors wandering the town, charging people and demanding their identification when the hose gets aimed at the driveway. Like,
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they're kids playing with water balloons. Like, you can't do anything fun in Quebec anymore. Apparently,
it's just one more reason to hate Quebec.
Yeah.
One more reason not to rely on the government to provide essential services for you.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Gavin, to answer your question, yes, you're allowed to collect your own rainwater, as long as you only have 2 barrels and not taller than 6 feet.
Wow.
That's good. So what if I happen to spill some of that water on the driveway? Is that okay, or?
Yeah, because it's not potable water.
Wow. Who's better to decide that, me or them? I mean, if I clean it, it certainly is. All right. Well,
dig a hole. Get your own water.
Yeah. A complete and utter failure. Bill for Trudeau's blunder-filled India trip tops $1.5 million.
Oh, good. Because I was just going to say you're going to have to be more specific if you're talking about Canadian politics.
Yeah. But, our veterans are asking too much.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have daddy's lineage, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing kind of I get it. Heads of state need to travel to other countries to visit them and do heads of state stuff and talk and work out deals and this and that and everything else. Like, that's part of the job.
You know what I really hate about veterans? I bet you none of them even have a favorite curry chef.
Probably not.
Like, that you just have to make you curry when you're in India. So you have them flown from BC.
Yeah.
To show these ignorant Indians what a good curry
how to cook their own damn cuisine.
The failure of this trip was not the $1.5 million. Like, the $1.5 million for a trip to India of this length, that doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't seem that crazy, and all things considered. But it's the fact that this trip had no discernible benefits. Like, there was no scheduled meeting with the Indian government. Like, the fact that this was just a vacation that we paid $1.5 million from, that's where it becomes an issue.
And so there's an interview where he's talking and stuff like that, and I think he's in front of the Taj Mahal and going on about how awesome it is because as a child he went there on an official visit, his words, not mine, with his father, and he got to see the Taj Mahal, only his father was busy and was in meetings. But now, X number of years later, that he's prime minister, he's able to go there on an official trip, again, his words, not mine, and be able to go and bring his kids, but actually be able to spend time with them. And it's like, but if you're on an official trip, why are you sightseeing? Like,
oh, speaking of spending time with them, this is everyone can relax knowing that he's going to be at it in his best form tomorrow because Trudeau took a personal day today.
Yeah, his 16th so far this year, I believe.
Yeah,
yeah. If there was
doing a horrible job, eventually, no matter how many times people are telling you you're doing a good job, it's going to wear down on you. So you got to take those personal days.
Yeah, as much as I'm sure the panel dislikes the shiniest of ponies' father, at least when he was in India, he was in meetings and doing work, not just flouncing about the country in fancy outfits and eating culturally appropriate Indian food.
All the costume changes alone were just exhausting.
Yeah. You know what's funny though?
That I demanded.
I think it's really funny. If you go to the bottom of the article, in their defense, Trudeau's office says,
to be honest, Benny, I never make it to the bottom of an article.
especially when Trudeau's involved.
So go ahead.
This will be interesting. Go ahead.
In their defense, they're like, well, in 2009, when Stephen Harper went to India, his trip cost 1.4 million, and the 2012 trip cost 2.5 million. And the latter bill included a 1.2 million, 2 million to fly 2 armored Cadillacs and a bulletproof SUV when the RCMP deemed it necessary for security purposes. The Trudeau used cars provided by the Indian government, and Canada spent about $58,000, $58,800, on cars and drivers for the trip. So if they managed to save 1.2, well, not 1.2, it would be whatever, like
basically 1.2.
Yeah, they could have saved a lot of money, but they instead spent it on other things.
And that was without flying.
I don't know where you're going. I missed.
Well, they're trying to say, look, we spent slightly more than the Conservatives did in 2009, and a lot less than they did in 2012. But the fact is, the things they spent it on were frivolous, stupid things.
Like
flying, that was sort of my
flying terrorists.
So yes, So yes, they were cheaper than the 2.5, but like you said, the 2.5 million one included the shipment of 1.2 million for these armored cars, which was deemed necessary by the RCMP. The government in control has no say on what the RCMP determines necessary for the safety. That is outside of the governing party. So that 1.2 is out of the control of the governing party when they went. So essentially they were 1.3 million in 2012, 1.4 in 2009, 1.3 in 2012, and then they're true, as I said, they're 1.5 now. They're slightly more. I don't think the dollar figure is the big issue. The big issue is that they spent all that money and didn't do anything.
Yeah. I'm all
for
no
scheduled meetings. There was no
17,000 on the business.
Yeah, there's a cost of doing business, right? Like that.
5,000 on Canadian wines. That one maybe, I don't know, because I guess if you want to serve at home alcohol.
Yeah.
But
But again, I don't know.
That's 1,700, and I'm sure he's never going to wear those clothes ever again that he wore on that trip.
What?
Oh, I'm sure he will.
And they're all.
He was probably in them today on his swing. Just pointy shoes, swinging away, having a hell of a time doing his drama stuff.
Yeah.
You don't know. Don't presume. It's the current year.
Yeah. He's probably rocking that outfit like every day he can.
I still loved all the tweets from people in India going, "Yeesh, can you tone it down a little?"
I know we're Indian, but we're not that Indian. Well, he was wearing a traditional Indian groom.
Oh, really?
One time.
Good for him.
See, there is someone for everyone.
Well, the thing is, they keep talking about the amount of economic activity, but it's a trade deficit for Canada that they negotiated.
Yeah, you got to get that in place for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a good deal for us.
It rarely is.
Yeah, they're not very good at business.
With those numbers,
With
you get the Indians to come to us to negotiate, right? They're fine, they're getting the major part of the deal. You don't spend $1.5 million so they get a better deal.
It's
we don't need to spend $1.5 million to tell them we're going to give them $1 billion, right? They could have flown here for that.
They're gonna do a big announcement. Don't worry about our energy. We signed Canada on with direct energy.
Yeah.
They keep talking about this is $1 billion in trade, and it's but it's I forget the exact breakdown, but it's $750 going that way and $250 coming back. It's
yeah. No, that's not how that works.
Yeah, it's not terrific.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of the RCMP.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the RCMP web post.
The same RCMP.
Yeah. No, it's
Well,
we could do the bit.
Do we know how many people have been changed? How many people have changed jobs since then? Is it the same RCMP? It's possible it's not.
It's the same RCMP.
No, okay, fine.
Yeah, the RCMP web post on gun bill careless and could be contempt of Parliament.
Right. So founding contempt. Now what? Like, do they scrap the bill? No. Did RCMP get punished? No.
$100 fine.
Yeah,
Probably. What does that?
No, they just reverted their website, and then
Like-
Oh Jesus.
Like, great. So we
and they
caught them.
investigated themselves and determined that they were innocent.
that's some Putin
Probably
level
not.
shit
Probably
right
not.
there. Yeah, that's Putin level shit right there.
RCM.
Oh, my candidates died? Weird. I will go and investigate why my opposition is no longer with us. Yeah,
Oh,
like-
shit.
Yeah, I don't think anything's ever going to happen with this. You know, if it ever goes to like trial or whatever, it'll be like 50 years from now when everyone's long forgotten about it because nobody owns guns anymore. But yeah, I mean, it's nonsense. I was curious when they posted all of that stuff about how am I supposed to register a firearm that doesn't need to be registered at the moment
Right.
Yeah.
If you
when the bill hasn't even passed and
Well,
the
if you-
deadline is coming up. Like,
yeah. The thing is, though, if you read the wording, it said restricted CZ858.
but
Implication
that
being
should already be registered.
exactly. They're basically saying that if you don't have a restricted firearm of this particular type after June 30th, we can't help you. Which, I think you've got bigger fish to fry at that point.
Yeah, I'd be worried of calling up right now and saying I have a restricted firearm that's not registered.
Yeah. What you want to do is you want to create language in the law that just drives up PVC pipe sales. So
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna need some big diameter for the CZ.
you want those
Speaking
guns
of
underground.
that grease gun I got to fire a couple of weeks ago was really fun. Unrelated, of course.
Not in this country.
Allegedly.
It's
Allegedly.
it's the RCMP being the RCMP as usual, so nobody should be surprised by this.
No, but I mean, it just shows how much the RCMP is just frothing at the mouth. Like, oh, so
Yeah.
some good gun legislation's coming our way, guys. Gotta get that up. Get going on that.
Yeah, is it like are they that bored? Like, is there that little going on that they need to like create all
there's
these
that.
rules and regulations so they have something to do? And by that I mean go and confiscate guns.
I think there's that much contempt towards legal gun owners and the RCMP. Yes.
At a certain point, Gavin, you get bored of, just handing out water bottles at the border. You feel like you got to go do something.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, then you get High River.
Yeah.
What is that one officer said that the one lady quoted who was a homeowner who had her door kicked in? He said, Leslie, there's no better feeling than kicking in a door.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
But like
Even the unlocked ones.
They could just do that in training and not like, legal law abiding citizens' homes.
Yeah.
There's no thrill, though, Gavin.
Yeah.
Oh, sure there is. It's maybe not as much fun. But, it's still fun.
I think Ragnarok has to get one of those doors you can bash in multiple times.
We had one at one of the charity shoots.
Shucks.
Built by our very own Tyler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can kick it in without damaging the stuff,
Well,
or you damage it
got-
and just fix it again?
You got to shoot it in with a shotgun. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
The door was sprung and you had to shoot out the piece of wood that held the latch. Some people would take 4 shots and put a nice clover leaf around the
But I'm not gonna lie. I on occasion, because I've been fortunate enough to shoot that door several times, did not get it with one shot. Sometimes you're too close and you just blow a hole through the wood, or you shoot like right under it. But I digress.
you got to hold off.
Shall we talk pot?
Yeah.
Not an expert, but yeah, let's do it.
Well, we can all be experts shortly. In 8 to 12 weeks, I guess, the Senate passed the pot bill. So,
Sounds like your cable guy's coming.
yeah. So, legal, and I don't have my camera on, but I'm doing the bunny ear air quote things here over legal. Cannabis will be available in 8 to 12 weeks.
I think something that you guys have stressed, and I haven't read it because I'm not really interested in it, but they keep saying, "Oh, we're gonna put a dent in the black market." I feel like the way they're doing it, not gonna make such a dent.
By having incredibly inconvenient, shitty weed sold expensively in like an LCBO carbon copy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
banking hours.
That's right. I believe you mean an even more restrictive version of the LCBO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
We
only
close
like
it-
5
yeah.
locations to start.
We close at 9.
Selling low
Yeah.
weed for
Yeah.
expensive prices.
Well, the government
Yeah.
workers, they can't. Working overtime is going to cost a lot of money. So
Yeah, I'm curious though with the hiring freeze in Ontario, how are they going to staff these stores when they open in
LCBO,
8
private
to
company.
12 weeks? Aren't they going to run it as a separate thing though?
that's going to be
It's
really
under the LCBO. So whoever bought the LCBO now
Yeah.
gets all the profits on weed as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, are they going to maintain a union? The LCBO is what is going to maintain a union.
Why wouldn't they?
It'll be
Think
So
about
they're just,
union
they're just
bosses.
creating more NDP voters then.
100%.
Well, I don't know. Recently, I don't know about after the most recent election, but the one before that, the unions got wise and decided they told their followers not to vote NDP because they weren't going to win, so they made them vote Liberal.
Okay.
But yeah, I
That
mean,
makes no sense.
That makes no sense at all because like
yeah,
No,
I'm really,
because the Liberal war is like so bad. Anyway.
yeah, I'm really surprised that they pushed this one through. I mean, we've all said it, I think, many times over the last year and a bit that we thought they would keep this one to right up until the next election and use it as a wedge issue. To be like, oh, we're so close, just vote for us one more time and we'll push the pot thing through. But
Well, no, it's still not legalized. Like even in
No.
8 weeks, it still won't be legalized.
I don't give
Yeah,
a damn. I don't want it legalized.
It-
Like I don't
it
even
can be.
even do it. I don't want it legalized. I want it decriminalized.
yeah,
And
So
if
it
anyone's
can
settling
be.
for less than that, then they're not doing themselves a favor.
So the one I saw it's set to what, October for this year is
Yeah.
the date where they believe it could be.
yeah.
I just wonder after they legalize it, what are they going to do next? Like, what's the next wedge issue?
So I don't know if they.
Guns.
So if the date that they set, I think it was October or something, whatever it was,
Yeah.
it worked out to being a year and 2 days before the next election. So I can see them making a big deal, right? Like 2 days before it being like the 1-year anniversary of having legal pot.
Yeah.
And reminding everybody about it like 2 days before the next election. That could still
Yeah.
work for them. Way.
Oh, for sure. I and that's probably exactly what they're going to do with it. It's just a little surprising. Like you would think that they would have had it, it gets read, just after they would have been elected again. If
The only thing that should be read is an Irish ale.
agreed.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
maybe the
I
grass
think
on
that-
occasion. But-
Yes.
I think that considering that they failed on all of the rest of their provinces, they just had to get a win. They just had to
Yeah.
be like, we did something that we said we were going to do.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
And I think this is ultimately, from the opposition perspective, this is the one that like nobody really cared about.
Yeah,
But this is the thing, though. Like, it's Trudeau's tweet. It's been too easy for our kids to get marijuana, and for criminals to reap the profits. Today, we changed that, period. Our plan to legalize and regulate marijuana just passed the Senate. And it's just like, it's been too easy. So kids getting marijuana is bad. So let's legalize it.
Yeah, that's not going to change them getting it illegally.
No.
yeah. There's
It's
always
gonna-
gonna
it's
be-
gonna-
So if criminals are getting things they shouldn't, we should make it legal.
Well, that is the
Way to give up. That's exactly
is
it.
that
That's exactly it, Marty. Yeah. If only they had the same attitude with gun laws. It's like,
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So guns should now just be legal. Anything that criminals are involved in, we just make legal now.
yeah. Well,
I mean, we have a lot less criminals.
yeah.
Well, that's what they're trying.
If everything is legal, you have. I mean, our jails would be empty, right?
Yeah.
That would fix that travesty.
most law-abiding society in the world.
Yeah, there's no laws. Got to lower the age of consent again. Take it further. We were talking about that on Saturday, Gavin.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to know what that conversation was about.
Okay, no, you don't. But it went this way. Stay tuned after the show.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone listening,
we need your help.
Yeah.
We need your help.
There's a lot of people talking about it being legal. They have not made it legal. They've highly, highly, highly regulated it, which is not the same thing. This is not done in the spirit of the way that people intended when they were asking for legal pot. This was done in the stupidest way possible so that, like, somehow the government will be the only people to ever fail at selling drugs that didn't get high off their own supply. You know, like, that's my opinion on it.
So, Gavin, as someone who really has not given a shit about this the whole way, what have, like, other than the fact that they're selling it like alcohol, which means like super overtaxed and inconvenient.
Yeah.
Is that the main issue, or?
Well, so I guess it's all how you look at it. So a lot of people want it legalized for medical reasons. And a lot of those people want it legal for medical reasons because they know they can get a medical card easily and smoke it for recreation. But that's besides the point. There are some legitimate medical uses for pot and the pot oils and things like that, which I don't think anyone should be banned from using because they work.
Yeah,
and they work really well.
Yeah,
that
PTSD
being said,
and other things.
Oh yeah, pain relief. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Like, but it's the way they go about it. Like, it's going to be even more regulated than alcohol.
Well, it's the shit that you can't see coming that's going to be the problem. Just in all the things, like, but it's just like whenever you make a law that gives people liberty, and it's not you that's going to use that law. It's going to be the most shitbag guy who's going to use that law to get off on a technicality or something like that. It's just like, in this case, like what's going on in the States, and there's been some reports of it, is people who have been using medical marijuana, they're now using that or attempting to use your medical marijuana use as a way to go after your firearms.
Well, that's because it's federally. Firearms is a federal offense in the States.
Yeah.
And federally, it's still illegal.
Yeah.
It is a technicality, but I think it's a legitimate one.
But that could, you have to keep in mind, that could happen in Canada.
Yeah.
So the Cannabis Act, for how it works in Canada, with what they're proposing at least, do I have to have a license to go to the local LCBO pot dispensary and buy it?
No, but you will only be able to buy so much of it at any one time.
Like a bushel, right? Like a bushel's worth?
No, like a much smaller amount. So, like, if you go into the liquor store or the beer store, you can buy as much booze as you can afford and or physically carry. Right? Like, if I go in if I go in with several $1 million and a couple of trucks and go, I'd like to buy every single bottle in here, they go, okay, and sell it to me.
See, that's interesting.
They will not let you do that with pot. You are only going to be allowed to go in and buy a certain quantity at any one time.
So my weed
can only be in possession of so much at any one time, including inside your home. So it's not like I can make multiple trips to the store and then stockpile it at home. Even in my own home, I'm going to be restricted to how much I can have on me at any one time.
So my weed lore is probably even less than Marty's. Can you OD on marijuana?
Absolutely. I know a guy who OD'd after injecting marijuana joints into his.
No, you're like.
In fact, they're quite proud. They say that there's never been.
Yeah, like the worst thing that'll happen is you pass out.
Yeah, the worst thing that could happen is you become this really annoying asshole who walks around and just
sticking his patchouli and wearing
around.
Right.
Yeah,
wearing like
shops, buying used books.
I can legally go into a store and buy enough alcohol to kill myself, but
Yeah.
I can't buy a weed to last me a week.
Yeah, you're
As
limited
an
to like
example.
a half bushel or a peck or something like that.
Yeah. So, and even if you grow it yourself, which you're going to be allowed to do, you're only going to be allowed to grow 4 plants.
Wasn't that one of the contentions?
I thought it was 2 plants. It was 2 plants per adult, 4 plants per household.
I think they might have changed that. That was one of the things
Either way, if it's 4 plants per household, that's still 4 plants. If I want to brew my own beer at home, I can brew as much beer as I want.
Okay, they don't want you pleasantly buzzed. They want you to either kill yourself or,
Well, and so, and if you happen to so choose to go buy your pot from a slightly less reputable source than, the official government pot store, you are still in possession of an illicit substance and it will be treated as such.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How are they going to tell the difference?
I'm sure they will find a way. They will put some sort of genetic marker in it. They'll make it like hot pink, or like it'll stink like dog shit, or like I'm sure they will.
The cop just smokes a little bit. And it's like, oh, this is good weed. We don't sell that shit.
Isn't there a dye or something they put in alcohol in the States so they can tell if something's been moonshined or not? Or
I'm sure they.
No, that's
I'm
diesel
sure,
fuel. You're getting it mixed up with the farmer diesel.
Yeah,
that
I'm sure they will find a way to
goes down smooth.
To mark government weed as government weed. If you get caught with something else, you're in possession of an illegal narcotic, basically. Still, so it's like 5 years in prison. So it's not legal. It's just highly regulated.
How do they tell? Okay, now here's the keep continuing on because we're figuring this out as we go. How do they tell between illegally purchased weed and homegrown weed then?
Because you're going to have to be buying your seeds from a government-approved source. So whatever genetic marker they finally figure out how to put in there will be in there as well, likely.
I think it's going to be basically, if it's good, then it wasn't from the government.
Yeah, I was going to say. The first couple months, the seeds they send out are all just hemp plants.
Yeah, so and like if you guys remember,
oregano.
There was the
back in grade
it's not gonna be hot, but it smells good.
Yeah, there was the Bombay Sapphire fiasco at the liquor store where there was bottles of Bombay Sapphire that were overproof, and they recalled them all, right?
Double.
Can you imagine the government pot store is going to have to employ all kinds of science people to constantly be measuring the potency of the pot?
The scientists.
Yeah, science people.
Industry experts, man.
They're not gonna be actual scientists, because that would make too much sense.
But at least
they're gonna have to measure the potency of the pot, because it's government regulated, so it's gonna have to be consistent.
But at least they're not
too strong.
Why sand makes the sound does when it moves.
That's true, but I would rather them try and figure out why sand hums when it has some sort of sand avalanche than sitting there constantly measuring the potency of pot.
I think if you ever get to have the epiphany that dogs are always in the push-up position.
But yeah. It's ridiculous, the whole thing.
Government's gonna government.
Yeah.
Be prepared for some shitty expensive pot.
Yeah, prepare yourself.
Yep.
Visit your dealers and stock up.
Yeah, you guys. They always
buy my peck of weed elsewhere.
Yeah, but I love it because they've always been like, oh, this is way better than people who drink alcohol, and it's just like you guys are gonna have like the LCBO version of the pot store. It's gonna be the miserable shit, overpriced.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be what you thought. Just like beer in the grocery stores was gonna be great, and then they find a way to fuck that up.
Yeah, but people are still praising it for
multiple ways.
Yeah. Well, the cost of hearing-related health claims on the rise in Canadian military.
What was that?
Cost of hearing-related health claims on the rise in Canadian military.
I gotcha.
I got that one, Tim.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's an easy one.
Yeah, it's a good one. But
Oh,
I'm
Well,
sure
you know
the
what though? You know what though? It's this is our people in the military and veterans deserve health care. But when you have like a social healthcare system, then that, you know, the market is going to be affected by that, and it's you're not going to get the best value for treating that shit. Like, it just, as soon as you offer something to a bunch of people for free, the prices are going to go up because it's going to be shared by the whole country. But that's just a small point of the problem. But
to be perfectly honest, I'm surprised that the Canadian forces do enough shooting and things like that to actually get any sort of hearing related damage.
so that's
Um,
the
so
thing. It's not
I guess
just
that's a
firearms.
plus. I guess that's a plus. Their ammo budget has gone up slightly.
No, the thing
No,
is though,
it's blanks.
it's not just it's not just firearms though. If you're working in a boat or near a big engine or something, that also can contribute to hearing loss.
this
Yeah,
is
but that also means we need diesel fuel for the tanks
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
this is historical, but it's just kind of, I thought it was just interesting. I'm reading this book called American Knights. It's about the 601 tank destroyer battalion, the U.S. tank destroyer battalion in World War II, and they had the M10 Wolverine, which had a 3-inch gun, which was high velocity and very loud, and they had an uncapped turret. It had to be open top because the pressure when upon firing would be too great to be, you know, shot inside a turret at the time. So they weren't able to shoot that high power of a gun with a closed top. But they would go, and they said it was really loud when they switched up to the 3-inch, like in the high velocity. It's really loud. So literally the army would get into shit. Like they'd run across like a Panther or a couple of Panzers, and they'd call up the tank destroyer battalion. They'd go up and they'd like have a battle and drive them off or destroy them. And then they would leave, and the army would go, oh yeah, and they would complain about how loud the 3-inch guns were. So like, but anyway, because they're saying like explosions and all sorts of shit. It's you know, like whenever I shoot with people, like take a new shooter out and you give them an AR, and they always talk about how loud it is.
7-inch barrel.
I said always, and then imagine that shooting that in a concrete building or something like that, like in a combat situation. Okay.
Not
So, and then, you know, part of the issue is that a lot of the soldiers in that, especially when they're being deployed, is they're not, you know, for good reason, they're not wanting to wear hearing protection and a situational awareness. They want to be able to hear what's going on around them. They want to be able to hear people coming up, you know, near them. So they're choosing for safety reasons to not wear hearing protection, and then as a result, they're getting, you know, they're suffering hearing damage from when they actually are needing to engage.
Not just hearing, but also be able to detect where the sound is coming from accurately. And so it's like they have active defense hearing protection that shooters use on the range because it's not a two-way range. And you hear the sounds, and you can kind of hear if it's coming behind you or whatever, but it's not like in real life. You can't say, oh, it's
not great.
coming from 30 degrees over that way, because, you know.
So here's the question: why don't they have suppressors?
They probably do. You know, for the
not widely applied.
No,
the cool guys will.
Yeah, yeah. But then again, that's what I was saying. It's not just the firearms that they would be receiving this hearing loss from. Could be any number of things in the armed forces.
Yeah, like diesels are allowed.
Yeah.
So you have that. But
now,
I agree.
Suppressor
should be legalized.
And I've been like shooting.
That was a bit of a jump. I was going to get there, but
but
I don't know. It was perfectly logical.
Yeah.
I mean, first thing was to get them declared a safety device for the military, and then once the government forces to admit that they're a safety device, then we can say that's a safety. That's a safety.
Well, the Liberals already have a stance on why they're not legal. It's because they're not legal.
Because they don't want them?
No, because they haven't been legal till now, so we're not going to make them legal. That was their response. That was their response to the petition. It hasn't been legal for 50 years. We're not going to make it legal.
Okay. these are the people that enacted the violence and workplace harassment policy. Like that wasn't in place for a long time either, and they enacted that. You know, it's just like that's a bullshit answer, and that's a poor excuse. Now, just one thing I did find interesting is like even me, I've been shooting for a long time, I always assumed that a silencer would affect muzzle velocity negatively, like significantly and negatively. But like there are YouTube channels. There's this guy who's ex-military in the States, and he has like an M4 size barrel, or maybe an M4, and he shoots it through a Caroni without a suppressor, and then he shoots it through with a suppressor, and it actually picked up velocity with a suppressor.
Yeah, so, there are instances where it will actually increase barrel length.
The 1 pound blocks on Moz and cheddar. So I think everything's on top of the fridge except for those little.
Benny, you gotta mute yourself.
Yeah, it's times where it can be detrimental to bullet performance, but there are other times where it will actually improve it. So if you have a short barrel,
probably not. Yeah, it's not as beneficial as a true barrel, but it might be half as beneficial as that added barrel length, which is still beneficial.
I mean, I wouldn't really expect much either way. Like it sits, as long as you're not using let's say if you're using a shorter barrel to then have the suppressor on the end. Sure, in that case, it would decrease your muzzle velocity, but a 16-inch barrel versus a 16-inch barrel with a suppressor, it shouldn't really make difference, because it's just kind of like a muffler hanging out at the end that allows the gases to expand within, so it shouldn't make too much
it would be
difference in velocity, because the bullet's already accelerated at that point.
I can't recall, but this guy, like on that size barrel, he said he was picking up like 80 to 120 like feet per second.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's probably negligible, really, like depending on what distance you're shooting at, but it does affect it. But
yeah, just the fact that it's not negative is amazing. Is surprising to me.
Yeah.
That's what I.
Yeah, I mean, when I first found that out, I was kind of a little surprised myself, but it makes sense when you stop and think about it.
Yeah, but I tell you, like I'm on the health and safety department at my job, and the stupid shit we do to try to build idiot-proof everything, and they won't give suppressors to soldiers. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer.
They have to spend the 2% of GDP if they want to afford the suppressors, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they could either spend the money now on suppressors, which will last for quite a while, or they could spend it later on, hearing damage. I guess that would imply that they're actually helping our veterans.
Yeah, right? I bet you a suppressor would pay for itself several times over.
Oh, for sure.
Especially
for how little they get shot.
Yeah, especially if we buy them from India, if we get that in that trade deal that Trudeau was working on.
We can get them from China. Just got to make the shrouds ourselves.
Pretty sure we could find somebody in Canada to make them.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
All right. Do we want to do this last one here with about Doug Ford?
Well, if not, then this is the last one.
Well, yeah. All right. So let's do this one then.
It's weird, eh?
Yeah. Our boy Dougie.
As we do the podcast does us.
Is that like when you stare into the abyss, the abyss stares into you?
No.
Okay. Our boy Dougie quietly acts as the Green Ontario Fund, which has liberal heads exploding everywhere.
When you hear pop of the night, it's a liberal going boom.
Yeah, all of a sudden, everyone's gonna just start like burning down forests and like polluting, all because this Green Ontario Fund no longer exists.
Like, yeah, I took our deep fryer, threw it in the river.
As you should. Yeah,
wasn't even should. Hadn't even cooled. I just threw it in.
Oil and all.
Yeah, oil and all. I didn't want to reclaim the oil. I was just like, screw that. Doug the axe will take care of me.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of misconceptions about what this Green Ontario Fund does or doesn't do, and how people are supposed to benefit but don't actually really benefit.
I heard it has to do with the whole smart meter scam that was going on.
Yeah, and I think there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of all rolled up into this.
It's also like energy efficient renovations, like windows, furnaces, insulation, and you get like parts of that back. But like someone said, oh, there was a post somewhere, I forget what it was, but there's just like, I don't want to buy your damn thermostat for you. Like, it's just, the money's coming from taxpayers somehow. So like, everyone's going to bitch.
Yeah, I think a lot of the improvements and stuff in terms of like what you would get your credits for and stuff were stuff that like only the super rich could afford anyways. So the practicality of this wasn't there. Like the average person couldn't afford.
You're not talking about Teslas
to do these home renos in order to get the credits.
I don't know what scale they're using because like my parents live in a bungalow in Toronto, and they got a letter or something saying that they use they're using extremely low amount of energy for what the government or Hydro One would expect a house of their size to use.
Oh, they should put them on the green squad.
So it's like what
well,
how much power
to them, our energy rates are going up. At least that's what happened under Win.
Like how are people using their energy that their bills are like so high, or that people think they're consuming so much energy? Oh, the same thing in my building, like where I am, I'm paying considerably less than everyone else.
Move out to the country and see what your energy bills are like.
I can imagine them being a lot higher.
Well, what pisses me off is I'm probably half the distance from Bruce Nuclear as you guys are, and I pay more delivery than someone in Toronto. Explain that.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is, potentially a good thing that's happening because, nobody was really benefiting anything from this other than the people that don't really need it, which are the people that like the liberals don't like, is the people with all the money. And we're subsidizing their free stuff, which is stupid. Like, if you want to go green and save money, go green and save money on like LED lights and stuff like that. It's proven that they work. Go do that. Just because it's going to save you money, why do we have to add additional incentive to that?
Or good old fashioned
I don't
conservation.
need to pay you so that you can save money.
Yeah. But, based on how our stupid hydro works, if we don't use enough hydro, our rates go up. So should we be saving hydro? Like, that's just gonna fuck us in the long run then. So where's the incentive that way?
To be honest, I heat my house in the wintertime with 48 toasters.
Ooh, nice.
So that's why they have every number past 2.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to soon actually switch my house over to entirely renewable resource for heat and going with wood.
Yeah, that's good, man. I was going to say that if you didn't. What about coal?
Do you need a wood chipper?
Chinese coal.
Yeah.
Brought over here on a freighter powered by whale oil.
The good old days.
Renewable. You know how much oil is in a whale?
Tons.
A lot.
Wow.
More now that I threw my deep fryer in the river.
Fattening up those whales one deep fryer at a time.
It's called fish sticks.
Yeah, I mean, this is making like every liberal's head explode, which I kind of love because they don't actually read into it and see what this was all about. They're just like, oh my God, he's gonna murder all the puppies, or whatever they think he's gonna do.
No, I mean this is essentially like we've already seen it from the media in terms of Doug Ford. Is he's like, oh, I'm gonna cut the cabinet back, and they're like, oh, are you still gonna have a minister of Indigenous Affairs? That's like, as soon as he tries to make any cut whatsoever, they're going to pull out the family, the one kid, the one whatever they can that it affects, and be like, he's harming these people. Like they're trying to demonize him so much already. And it's like any step towards, balancing the budget and improving our economy, and they are going to be all over it and just tearing into him.
Well, first of all, like, I don't even think we should have a minister of what did you say?
Indigenous Affairs.
Yeah, a minister of
Indigenous Affairs is the one that they were saying, because he's trying to go with a smaller cabinet.
Yeah, but I think that the Indigenous people of Canada should be loyal to their spouses.
Where's that coming from, Tim? I'm sorry, you've lost me.
Well, we have a minister specifically, for Indigenous Affairs.
Yeah.
And that's disgusting. That's just promoting degeneracy. Typical liberals.
I mean, here's the thing. They're Canadians. Are they not? So what if we have a government that's doing the things that are making Canadians' lives better, that will make their lives better as well. Do we need special people looking after them specifically? Like, and why?
Because the liberals demand equal outcome, not equal opportunity.
Well, they already live in like, I don't know much on this topic, but it seems to me like ghettos. They're stuck on this little parcel of land. If they leave, they lose benefits and whatever.
They lose their tax-free status.
Yeah. So
there's a government interference incentive to stay in this ghetto that they've created.
And there's no incentive to have business or anything else there.
There's de-incentive for them to better themselves.
And the Liberal government to posture like social justice, like egalitarian wise, struck down the Transparency Act for the spending on the reservations. Like,
yeah, the disclosure for the chiefs to disclose the amount of money that they are paying themselves.
Yeah,
from the fees of the members of their tribes.
So when you're in Attawapiskat and your ceiling doesn't and your roof doesn't keep water out, but the chief drives an Escalade and your son likes hockey, so you buy a $54,000 Zamboni, while a portion of your people live in squalor, that can no longer be found out because the Transparency Act, removed that. Like, they removed the Transparency Act that Harper had enacted, because Harper was racist for trying to make transparency, make the spending that the chiefs do transparent. And I'm a Nazi even for mentioning it. So,
like, they're making millions of dollars a year.
Yeah, in some cases, yeah, a lot of money.
Huh? Guess is that all we've got to say about the natives, as per usual.
I guess so.
Sweet. All right. Well, I guess we should remind everybody about the petitions. E1608. If you haven't done it yet, you're a lazy piece of shit. Also, One Clear Voice. You should also do that. Do every single thing that they've got on there. There's like 11 of them, I think, at this point. Something like that. A bunch of them. Print them out. Mail them to your MPs, your MPPs. Everybody that's in the government, it's free to do so. So do that. Also coming up shortly, the 8th annual Canadian Firearms Podcaster Network charity shoot. There's a bunch of stuff. We've talked about it before. We'll be there, podcasting live, hammered as per usual. So
most of us,
yeah.
If you go, if you're not there on the 7th, it's all booked out. So
yeah,
the 7th you're just going to show up to, but at the 5th and 6th, it's already booked. So
yeah, or just show up to Trevor's house for the drinking. We'll be there drinking.
Yeah, if no one answers the door, just go around to the back.
Yeah, wear your clown outfit. That's your free ticket to the party.
Don't forget your plate carrier.
Yeah,
and if you haven't listened to the most recent Slamfire, next year's podcast charity shoot's gonna be at Adriel's house. So book that.
Yeah, sweet. All right.
Okay.
Rapid fire feedback from Todd. Subject: 3%.
Milk.
No, not quite. Another group of white people, though. Message: I would be interested in your opinions of the 3% and other patriot movements growing in Canada.
I can start off. I feel like it's their hearts are in the right, where the theories are in the right place, but they're too easily hijacked by those that gain them negative publicity. They are, too much people of anti something rather than pro Canadian.
Yeah, it's LARPing.
Yeah, I mean, Todd, I think you should probably go back and listen to like an episode that we kind of focused really heavily on this. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a while ago. But my short opinion on this is more or less like what Benny said. Like it's a lot of people that just don't really understand what it's all about, and like everybody wants to do Patriot shit until it's time to do Patriot shit, and then they're gonna scatter like leaves in the wind. There's a bunch of old boomers that are sitting around LARPing on the internet and saying this, that, and everything else, and that they're devising a system of knife fighting, and that you should be out there practicing with your iron sights on your rifle. But like, how many of these guys are actually doing any of that stuff? And if it ever came down to it, would actually pick up a rifle? Because they probably don't even actually own one. And then they go and organize themselves in these biker gang-esque groups with their leather vests and patches and this and that because they want to be seen and be cool. But how is doing any of that actually bettering the community that they live in? It's just a bunch of tough guys walking around being tough that aren't actually tough, in my opinion. But that's my short answer.
CPP episode 85. 3%, bro.
Yeah. Todd, if you're interested in this type of thing, I would say before you start getting involved in a group like this, form a community, form a local community. Just know your neighbors, know like people that are around you, form relationships with your neighbors. If times ever get rough, like that's who you're going to rely on. That's who you're going to need help with. That
But these guys like to claim that they're the official group of the movement.
Which right off the bat gives them credibility.
Yeah. One of the bizarre things about them, aside from the whole way that they organize in zones that don't make any sense, is that having a PAL or an RPAL is a requirement, and that like when you meet some of them for the first time, they're going to check that. I'm not okay with that. Like, the only people that get to see my PAL are the people that I buy guns and ammo from. Like, why would I be showing that to some Joe off the street just to confirm that I have one for no reason whatsoever? That, and the guy that organizes the whole thing has been doing a bunch of really shady shit, but that's besides the point. Like Marty said, start a real community with your neighbors.
Yeah, and honestly, and I would also say this. If you live in an area where you don't know your neighbors, and that's a common thing, like you don't know your neighbors, you've never been to their house, you've never spoken to them, you live in a shitty area, move.
Yeah.
Join a gun club.
Yeah.
Get involved in your gun club. Get involved, meet good people at your gun club and just encourage them to be good and grow that kind of thing.
Yeah, that or join your local, political riding association, whichever party it is, or your local St. John's ambulance or Red Cross or whatever search and rescue thing it is. volunteer for things, be good people helping your community.
Like if you join the 3% Facebook group, that's probably like a fast track to an RCMP shortlist.
Yeah.
Which I'm probably on also.
That's
so I'm not
almost
really
yeah.
I don't know. Like everyone, we all like generally people who join 3%ers and us on the podcast. We're generally we're proud of people like us in Canada and you know like-minded individuals. Probably not very happy with the current like reigning government party. And one of my things is what I like about this podcast, that this is what I think I help do with the movement is I make being critical of the government fun and therefore easier. We have to be able to think critically, be able to think like contrary to what the CBC says, and what the schools have taught us, and it needs to be in a way that's digestible to the general population.
Yeah.
So
there's the quote, like, being a patriot means loving your country all of the time and your government some of the time, or something like that.
Yeah.
But
other than that, I very good close friends in the shooting community after being and giving to the gun club and the gun community, for years. Martial artist, first aider, reloader, shooter. I help people become better shooters at my local club. I help hang out with some of the most excellent people you ever want to meet at the charities and stuff that we do, the charity shoots we run. And that's, to me, that's doing, I don't need to be in a 3% group to do that. But
no.
But again, I'm probably still on a short list. And just like everyone else, I get my record scanned every morning, just as a firearms owner. So
yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but it is somewhat on the topic. But
yeah, no, I would agree. I think that covers it. If you want some more, you can go back to listen to, what was it, 84, 85? We talk a lot more about it there. That, or, I mean, you can find most of us pretty easily on social media, except for Marty. I'll be happy to give you my long answer somewhere on the interwebs. But yeah, I guess that brings us to the outro. So I guess, yeah, sweet. And more or less right on time, too.
Yeah. Andrew, we missed you.
Yeah.
But we didn't want the podcast to not be just because you weren't here.
Yeah. So I guess where can we find everybody on the internet, Tim?
You can find me at facebook.com/Tim's Good T-shirts.
All right, sweet. Benny?
I put Benny to sleep with my speech.
Oh, there you go.
So bennylewis.ca.
Sweet. And Marty, where can people find the podcast?
CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/CanadianPatriotPodcast, or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com and let us know what you think.
Sweet. I guess, yeah, you can find me on Instagram at urbex_GTA, and you can find Andrew at ragnaroktactical.ca. Buy some bandages. That'll help with your whole, getting involved in your community and stuff like that.
Tourniquets.
Yeah.
Take a tactical course. What is it? What is it we said this weekend, Gavin?
Unshitty yourself?
Unshitty yourself. Take a tactical course, a carbine operator course, or,
Yeah. That, and I guess we should apologize to Rod Giltaka for not having him on the show. But without Andrew, we didn't want to have him on the show either, because that wouldn't have been fair. He wouldn't have got the full experience. So, apologies. That, and remember, you are the true North, strong and free. Where is the off button? There we go.